YouTube, what's going on? Welcome to the latest episode of the Silver and Gold Stack Attack. As always, a quick thank you for taking some time out of your day to check out the latest video, and hell yeah, for being the best damn community here on YouTube, without a doubt. So before we get started, I'd like to do a quick channel shout out to Check Stacker, who hails from the great state of Texas. Really nice channel he's putting together, so be sure to check him out and give him some love. Alright, so just last year, early spring 2024 to be exact, silver was in the low 20s for spot price. We all remember those days. Seems like a dream now. And that little dip had a fantastic effect on American Silver Eagles, giving me an opportunity to buy them again after easily a 2-year hiatus, and I ended up getting them for 25 bucks per eagle. And even more savings were had when I bought them by the tube. And then, as we all know, silver finally began to run into the high 20s, then into the low 30s, and here we are today sitting at 38 plus, which means predictably that eagles are back in the stratosphere, sitting at over 40 bucks per coin. Sounds crazy, I know. It wasn't all that long ago that most of us would have never considered buying them at 40 plus, but here we are. So at present prices, a lot of stackers may be avoiding silver eagles, but are they making a mistake? Today's video, I'm going to go over the advantages of silver eagles and why the present price shouldn't be scaring you off from stacking them. I promise I'm not going nuts. I'll explain it all to you. All that said, take it away, Bundy.
Let's rock.
Alright, so let's get right into it. Now, how can we still justify buying silver eagles at today's $40 plus price point? Well, let me break it down a little bit for you by taking a look at some figures and see if we can make some sense out of it all. First off, let's look at eagle pricing. I used findbullionprices.com to get these numbers, and while it's not an all-inclusive price list, it's a very decent one to get an idea of what dealers are selling for. You might personally know a better dealer, but again, this is just for quick comparison. So if we look at the numbers, it looks like the best deal online right now is $41.04 per eagle at a place called Bullion Star. And if we break it down a little bit further, there's a seller on eBay who has a tube of 20 for sale at $815.20, which breaks down to $40.76 per eagle. Not the best bargain, since you'd be better off buying 20 individually to save a little money there. But if we go one last step further, we can see that the best price for a monster box of eagles, specifically 500 coins, the breakdown cost is $41.65 per eagle. Again, the individual price for one eagle is the way to go in these cases, but in the past, buying a tube or more of eagles would generally get you a discounted price. But with the cost of silver up, it appears that sellers are taking advantage of the price and charging what they feel. All right, next, let's now that we know what eagles are going for, let's compare those prices to generic silver rounds and see what the better deals are. And if we take a look at this pricing chart, we can see that the lowest price right now for generic silver rounds is currently $38.61 at Monument Metals. Now, this is your most basic entry-level silver round with nothing fancy about it. It's an ounce of silver in its cheapest form. And if we look at this chart again, we can see that a tube of generic 20 generic rounds is currently $774, which breaks down to $38.70 per round. Again, buying in bulk fails to give you the better pricing, like it did in the past, and it looks like you're better off buying 20 individually at the lower cost. And lastly, let's compare prices with 1-ounce silver bars, generic silver bars. Now, these used to be the best value in generic silver. They were always typically priced lower than rounds for whatever reason, but that's definitely not the case anymore. And if we take a closer look, we can see that the cheapest price for 1-ounce silver bars is currently a whopping $40.17 per bar. That's insane. But again, this website doesn't reflect the entire internet when it comes to pricing, so we can't really call this price a true barometer. And as you look at the rest of the chart, the prices only seem to get worse as we go. But there are some premium bars in there, like the Pamp Lady Fortuna bar at $45. Look, anything Pamp puts out is going to have a pretty sizable premium attached to it. So now that we've price shopped eagles and generics, let's take a final look at the price comparison between them. When we compare the best price of silver rounds versus eagles, we can see that the eagle does cost more, as we figured, with a difference of $2.43 per coin. And for you stacking purists out there, that means for every 17 eagles purchased, you could have had an additional ounce of silver when you factor in that difference in price. So that's definitely something to consider. And moving on down to bars, we can see that the margins here are oddly very slim. It's kind of crazy, but when we compare eagles to 1 ounce bars, We see that Eagles are barely costing more than 87 cents per coin. That's insane when you think about it. I'm not quite sure why bars have closed the gap the way they have here, but this is where we are in August of 2025. So now that we've gone over the margins between generics and Eagles, I'm going to go over why I'm sticking with American Silver Eagles if I'm looking at silver by the ounce. Now, Eagles have some definite advantages over generics at these slim margins, and for me that makes it worth spending just a little bit more. Now, pricing aside, here are some advantages of Eagles. Number one, they're government backed. Don't read more into this than you should. All that means is the silver purity and weight is guaranteed by the U.S. Mint. That's a big deal when it comes to selling. Number two, they're the most recognized silver bullion in the world, for the most part. And number three, they're highly liquid because they're a trusted, tried, and true design. Now, the one big disadvantage of Eagles is that they're highly counterfeited. As a matter of fact, they're the number two most counterfeited bullion coin in the world, second only to the Morgan silver dollar, if I'm not mistaken. Now, that said, it's fairly easy to spot the fakes with even just a little bit of knowledge, but I've seen quite a few buyers get burned by our Chinese friends regardless. But when it comes to the disadvantages of generics, well, there's a couple. They're not guaranteed in purity and weight, so a dealer would likely have to test them when you go to sell them. They're highly counterfeited, from sunshine to Engelhard and everything in between, and it is going to take a little bit of practice to recognize those. They're a little bit more devious. And lastly, they're just not as liquid as Eagles. You're more than likely going to get spot or back of spot in a sale. Most likely back of spot if we're being perfectly honest. But if the price of silver has gone way above your dollar cost average, hey, that's a moot point. All right, there you have it. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Now, let me reiterate that even though I personally prefer Silver Eagles at these present prices, that doesn't mean it's the best strategy for you, right? Or anyone else. You all know that I encourage everyone to march to the beat of their own drum when it comes to spending our hard-earned money on metals. What works for one stacker might not work for another, so you got to keep that in mind. What are your thoughts on Eagles over generics? Are you willing to spend a little extra to stack Eagles? Or are you sticking to that lowest cost possible, no matter what? I'd love to hear your feedback, so be sure to leave a comment down below and let me know. You guys know I love going through them, so make sure you sound off. And that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Silver and Gold Stack Attack. And if you made it this far, well, I'm just as surprised as you are. Kudos to you. I'll definitely catch up with you in the next episode, but in the meantime, ooh yeah, you know what's up.
What do you want to do with your life?
I want to stack.
Damn right, get stacked. Stay safe and be well, everyone. And be sure to catch me in my silver journey this Wednesday at 8:30 for Stacker's Corner. We're going live. If you need a link, just look under my post. Until then, I am out of here. Peace, folks. Have a fantastic week ahead. I'll see you all on Wednesday.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.